former UN ambassador and Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. Ambassador, great to have you here. Do you think this move, these targeted strikes in Rafah overnight, is this going to help or hurt the negotiations going on right now?
I think that's hard to say, but I believe the negotiations are fraudulent from the beginning. I don't think Hamas has had the number of hostages we've bandied about in discussions for the last 7 months. I've heard from sources in Israel they may have less than 20 left alive. We'll see. But the real point here is America's break in its relations with Israel. The enormous pressure that the Biden administration has put on Israel not to go into Rafah and finish the job of eliminating Hamas's military capabilities, which has caused great damage to Israel, put everybody at risk. We don't know how much longer the Israelis will resist, whether they'll buckle entirely or whether they'll go ahead with the operation, which is what they should do, and the sooner the better. Once Hamas is eliminated militarily, then things become possible in Gaza.
But what about the fact that an invasion in Rafah, Ambassador, would by all accounts cause widespread casualties among civilians who are sheltering there?
Well, who do we blame for that if that happens? Certainly we hope that it doesn't happen, but the party at blame here is Hamas, the government of Gaza, that after committing its barbarities on October the 7th, committed further barbarities by making its own citizens part of its defense mechanism, human shields. You know, the Israelis, under the law of war, are entitled to act in self-defense against military targets. They have to take the proportionality of potential civilian casualties and be able to justify the military necessity. There's no doubt there's military necessity here.
Yeah.
So this is something I think the Western press has gotten upside down. Who's morally to blame here? The answer is Hamas.
Yeah, Netanyahu is in a tricky spot. He's under enormous pressure, both globally and internally, from the families of these hostages and, you know, political opponents inside Israel, that if this deal, if he's seen as scuttling this deal that would free the hostages, there'll be outrage. But on the other side, his right-wing coalition is saying, if you don't go into Rafah, we resign, in which case his government crumbles, and he doesn't want to face elections right now.
Well, let's look at it this way. What is the highest Israeli national interest at stake here? Certainly, we all feel compassion for the hostages and their families, no doubt about it. But the highest interest for Israel here is the survival of the government of Israel, the survival of the Jewish state itself. And the best way, the most likely way to be able to get whatever number of remaining hostages out is to defeat Hamas. They would use these hostages as bargaining chips to buy more time to secure the leadership of Hamas. And that's an act of brutality in and of itself.
Yeah.
I'm not belittling the fate of the hostages, but what Israel needs to do is destroy Hamas. The sooner that happens, then a lot of things become possible.
All right. It's a pretty dire situation over there. Ambassador John Bolton, thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Caused by Hamas.
Yeah. Well, somebody would, it's complicated. It's very complicated and tangled. But this particular situation, certainly October 7th, caused by Hamas, the hostages seized, taken by Hamas. Ambassador, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.